I'm Madison. I'm 20 years old. And I just discovered something that made my blood boil. My sister Jessica walked into my apartment, handed me a printed invoice like I was some kind of business, and said 5 words that changed everything. Mom says you're paying this. $12,800 for her kids, for their private school, for their expensive summer camp, for their new tablets and laptops and coding classes. And you know what? She actually BLIEVED, I would just say yes. But here's where it gets crazy. I overheard her tell my mom the week before. She literally planned this. She told Mom, Madison has money saved up. After we all go out for that birthday dinner, I'm going to ask her in front of everyone so she can't say no. That's when I decided something had to change. I've always been the responsible one in my family. Not because I'm some super mature person, but because my parents relied on me early. When my little brother Marcus needed help with his college applications, I stayed up all night editing his essays. When my dad's truck broke down, I paid the mechanic bill. When my mom wanted to renovate the kitchen, guess who helped her find the cheapest contractors? Me. I work as a social media manager for a small company. I make decent money for my age. I save. I'm careful with what I have. I have a little apartment with rent that eats up a lot of my paycheck. I have student loans still. I have goals. I wanted to travel. I wanted to buy a car that didn't make weird noises. I wanted to build something for myself. But somehow my family saw my bank account like it was public property. Jessica especially. She has 2 kids. She's married to Daniel, who has a good job, but she's always asking for things. Always. Madison, can you help with dance recitals? Madison, can you chip in for the birthday party? Madison, what about the field trip fee? I never said no, I just didn't. I paid because saying no felt like being selfish. It felt like being the bad guy. It felt like abandoning my family. But that invoice, that changed the game completely. The day Jessica handed me that invoice, I was sitting in my living room. I had my laptop out. I was working on budgeting for my own car down payment. I had the numbers right there, how much I needed, when I could get it, the timeline. She didn't knock. She walked in using the key Mom gave her. She sat down on my couch like she owned it, and she said, I need to talk to you about something serious. My stomach dropped. She pulled out this fancy piece of paper. It looked official, like something from a lawyer's office. There was my name at the top. It said financial support agreement, like we were running a business together. Then she listed everything. Trinity Academy tuition, $5,000. Summer STEM camp in California, $2,200. New laptops for both kids, $1,800. Dance lessons and equipment, $900. Piano lessons, another $900. And at the bottom, in bold letters, due BY November 30th. She looked at me and smiled, like she was doing me a favor by giving me time to pay. She said, I know this is a lot, but Daniel and I were trying to give the kids the best education possible. And honestly, you're the only one who can help us right now. I stared at that invoice for what felt like forever, and I realized something. I wasn't actually helping my family. I was enabling them. I was teaching them that MY life didn't matter, that MY goals didn't matter, that MY future could wait. Because their wants couldn't. I didn't answer her right away. I couldn't. I was too angry, not at Jessica. Well, maybe a little, but mostly angry at myself for being so blind, for thinking this was normal, for thinking it was love. Jessica left after a few minutes. She could tell something was wrong, but she didn't push it. She just said, think about it. The kids are really counting on this. And there it was. The guilt. The weaponized guilt that my whole family knew how to use like a superpower. After she left, I did something I'd never done before. I made a list. Every single thing I'd paid for. Every money transfer. Every emergency that somehow always turned into something that wasn't really an emergency. Every time I said yes when I wanted to say no. The list was long, it was depressing, it was eye-opening. I realized I had given away almost $5,000 in the last year alone. $5,000. My car down payment fund, still sitting at $2,000. My travel savings, $300. My emergency fund that I was supposed to have, basically non-existent. And my family just kept asking, expecting, assuming. I called my best friend Sarah. I didn't even say hello. I just said, I think my family treats me like an ATM machine. She said, Madison, they do. That's when I knew I had to do something radical. I texted Jessica back, just one word, no. She sent back like 50 question marks. No what? No to what? Madison, are you okay? I didn't respond that day, or the next day, or the day after that. By day 3, the family group chat exploded. My mom said I was being disrespectful. My dad said I was going through a phase. Grandma sent a Bible verse about honoring your family. Jessica called me on day 4. She was furious. She said, You're going to humiliate me in front of the school. They need to know whether we're registered or not. This is about the KIDS, Madison, not about you and your attitude. And that's when I finally said it out loud. I'm not paying for it. Not $1, not 1 cent. I love your kids, but I don't love them enough to sacrifice my entire future. And that's okay. That's healthy. That's me being an adult. She hung up on me. The week leading up to Thanksgiving was intense. My mom showed up at my apartment on Wednesday, just showed up. She had this disappointed look that I'd seen a million times. She said, We need to talk about this invoice. I said, There's nothing to talk about. She said, Family helps each other. I said, Family doesn't send invoices. She said, You're being cruel to those children. And I finally said something that I think needed to be said for a long time. Mom, I'm also your child. I also deserve to have my own life. I also deserve to have my own money. When did that stop mattering? She got really quiet. Then she said, When you started making good money, it felt like you should help. And there it was, the truth. It had never been about love. It had been about convenience, about assumption, about taking the person in the family who was responsible and just using that. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just said, I'm not paying this invoice, and I won't be coming to Thanksgiving if this is going to be a conversation about it. Mom left. She didn't say goodbye. Thanksgiving morning. I woke up and I felt light, like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally put it down. My family was all going to my parents' house. I didn't go. Instead, I called a local restaurant and ordered enough food for myself. I got a turkey sandwich with cranberry sauce. I got sweet potato fries. I got a whole pie. I paid for it with MY money. That IEARNED. That belonged to me. I drove to a park near my apartment, and I sat on a bench, and I ate my lunch, and I watched the world go by. My phone was buzzing the whole time. Mom, where are you? Jessica, the kids are asking for their aunt. Dad, this is embarrassing for our family. I put the phone on silent. I ate my pie. It tasted like freedom. The next few weeks were weird. My family didn't really talk to me. Jessica blocked me on Instagram for like a week. My mom posted this vague thing on Facebook about some people forgetting where they come from. But something important happened too. Without me being the safety net, my family actually had to figure things out. Jessica and Daniel adjusted the kids' school situation. They found cheaper programs. They said no to the fancy camp. They adapted. Surprisingly, the kids were fine. They were actually happy, because now their parents were present and less stressed about money. My dad called me 3 weeks later. He didn't apologize, but he asked how I was doing. We talked for like 20 minutes about actual things, not about money, just about life. It was nice. My mom took longer, but eventually she texted me this. I realize now that we weren't being fair to you. That meant something to me. Jessica and we're still working on it, but we're texting more. And when we do talk about money, the conversation is different. It's not demands. It's asking, real asking, like I have a choice. Because I do. Here's what I learned. Being young doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your entire future for your family's present. Being responsible doesn't mean being a doormat. Being capable of doing something doesn't mean you have to do it. I learned that saying no isn't cruel. It's honest. It's healthy. It's the thing that actually saved my family relationship because now it's based on real love instead of guilt and obligation and using each other. I got my car down payment fund up to $5,000. I took a trip to Costa Rica. I'm still helping my family sometimes, but on MY terms, with MY boundaries, with MY life still mattering. And you know what the craziest part is? My family respects me more now, because I finally started respecting myself. If you're in a situation like this, I just want you to know it's okay to say no. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to be the person who doesn't pay for everything. Your life matters. Your future matters. Your dreams matter. And that's the real truth about family.